Okay, so the very first thing, like I said, martial court. What are some things that we should know immediately? Like, let's just spend like 2-3 minutes. Martial court.
John Marshall.
Okay, John Marshall. What else?
Supreme Court.
Supreme Court. Federalists, like the group. So Federalists. What else? It's your time, not mine. Anti-favorites, right? Or Democratic Republicans, so demo reps. Is it okay if I put demo reps?
Yeah.
Okay. What else? Okay, so cases themselves. If we can go this route. So we say that, right? What? Judicial review. Can we write Constitution up here?
Yeah.
What?
Final say.
Final say. Okay. Congress. Thomas Jefferson. Okay. Hamilton. Madison, yeah? What else do we need to know? Federal versus state? What else? What else? What else? What else would someone have to know about the martial court? Can't be just that. Huh? Constitution, right? So yeah, the Constitution. Okay. Could we write Congress, President, and we need to know who they are?
Where do you put Congress?
Did we put Congress already?
Yeah.
Oh, we did. Never mind. What else? What else do we need to know? Okay, so we could, like I said, we could throw the cases up there. We're going to throw the cases up there anyway, so I'm going to avoid the cases. Again, when we're brainstorming, there's no right or wrong answer, right? But I'm just going to avoid it for right now. What else? In terms of William Marshall. Or John Marshall, sorry. William Marshall. Throwing everything around. John Marshall.
Chief Justice.
So Chief Justice, sure. We could. Okay. Trade. Okay, a little bit more brainstorming that needs to come from you guys, right? Okay, so that's just a few things, right? So the key with the essay is an introduction, right, of Marshall, right? And it doesn't need to be a biography, right? He likes to walk the beach and no, right? That's not what we're talking about when we say an introduction. But an introduction of what? If we're talking about the Marshall Court, how would we introduce it in an essay? What would we say? So what it is, right? It's the judicial branch, right? So maybe an introduction of what the judicial branch is, right? And the Constitution and why it was added as a branch, right? And maybe outlining the powers of the judicial branch in the introduction. And then mentioning, right, as your thesis statement, that Marshall's court, John Marshall, okay, or that a key player, right, in your introduction, a key player is eventually going to be this Chief Justice, John Marshall, who was a Federalist, okay, who wants to strengthen the power of the federal government. So a key player here, being John Marshall, your thesis statement is going to be what? That the Marshall Court played a role in A, B, and C, right? Or breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I did it this way so that we have more room versus the other way. Does that make sense? So I did it in columns, but this would still be breakfast, lunch, and what? And dinner, right? Or paragraph A, B, and C. Okay. what do we mean by federal versus state? When it comes to his court, what does that mean? I want to make sure you guys understand these things. What does that mean? Federal versus state, when it comes to his court. Because you need to say that, right? What does that mean?
Federal laws versus state laws?
Okay, but we're also talking about the superiority. Okay? So what does that mean?
The government itself versus individual states.
Okay, is superior, right? So John Marshall's cases are going, all of this is about reinforcement. Do you guys understand that? It's about reinforcement. Okay?
Oh, just that the federal has a superiority over the state, and that it strengthens like the Congress. The federal outweighs the state.
Okay, so, and not even just Congress, but just the federal level, right? So all three branches of the federal level are superior to any state government. Does everybody understand that? His cases are going to reinforce. Realistically, every single case that you see, whether it be in the documents, if you looked at them, or the 6 that you're looking at, because there's additional ones in your documents, right? The ones that deal with the Cherokee, okay? So all of those cases, every single one of them, all of them can technically go in A, yes or no? Why? Because all of them are federal versus state, right? Because it's the Supreme Court showing the superiority of the federal government. Is there a curtain behind the Supreme Court? No. Final say went to who? So therefore, it shows the superiority of the Supreme Court, which is a part of the federal government. Okay? So another thing that we left off here, right, is Amendment 10. Yes? Why? Would that be a key thing to maybe mention in here somewhere?
What about the article?
So, mentioning Article 1, 2, and 3, right? So, Article 1 outlines the legislative branch. Article 2 outlines the executive branch. And Article 3 outlines what? The judicial branch. Okay? So, look at the next one. Roles of Congress, right, versus the roles of the Supreme Court. Okay? Article 1 outlines the roles of what? Article 3 outlines the roles of the Supreme Court, right? Okay? Do some of Marshall's cases reinforce what their roles are?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so it's a matter of figuring out which cases, and we'll talk about that in just a second. I want to make sure you understand this. Okay? So remember, if the administration's, if their part of their job description is to make laws, if you break the laws and there are consequences, okay, does that give them more power or does it reinforce the power they already have? Okay, that's very key. Okay, these cases simply reinforce. It's not like Congress, or excuse me, it's not like the Supreme Court's going to get buffer. Okay, they're not going to get stronger. They will get stronger from the standpoint of there are more cases to reinforce that power. But they don't gain any new powers. Does that make sense? Okay? Everybody understand that? So you're not getting, so technically you do get stronger. You just don't gain new muscles. Right? Because the muscles are already defined by the Constitution. Everybody understands that? Okay. The last one is a little bit more interesting. Because this one is a little, it can be seen as a little bit more subjective. Okay? Economic growth. Okay? Does Marshall want the United States of America to grow economically? Yeah, he does, right? I mean, he wants the country to be successful. Okay? He also understands that for success to happen, it needs to start at what level? He is a federalist. At what level? A federal level, right? So, are some of his cases, at least the results of some of his cases, are they going to help in terms of the United States moving forward economically? Okay? That's what it's asking. So you need to evaluate the cases, but also understand, right, that the country is going to, it's going to help the country move forward. It sets the precedent. Okay? These two, it's more about reinforcement. This one is a little bit more about reinforcing and setting a precedent. Okay? So we'll talk about that in just a second. Does everybody understand what those three are? Yes? Or no? Are there questions about any one of those three things in terms of what it is being asked of you? Overall, all of this is strengthening what? The federal government. Okay? Everyone understands that part. And is that maybe a key thing to keep sort of coming back to in your analysis? Yeah, it's very key. Okay? So, if we look at your 6 cases, okay? Just the 6 cases. What can go in here? Right? All of them. Okay? So cases 1 through 6 all can go in there. Right? All of them can go in there. But what about when we look at, let me grab mine. What about when we look at the documents? What about when we look at the documents themselves? Huh? Yes, if you don't mind. Thank you. Okay? So